Is it a cold day in hell? Because I am actually agreeing with Nerdrotic, and it's not for the reasons you think it is. So here we have a quote from Kevin Feige over at Culture Crave on Twitter from an interview he did with the Wall Street Journal. Now, truth be told, it's behind a paywall. You have to subscribe to see it, so it's annoying. You really are only getting bits and pieces unless you're paying for Wall Street Journal. I'm not going to pay for Wall Street Journal. It's just not worth it. But he's been doing the rounds, doing little interviews here and there. And so he's made some quotes, which I think for the most part have been relatively positive. It seems like it's a positive direction for the MCU moving forward. However, these guys never see anything as positive. So it's always some sort of gotcha or something like that when it comes to their takes on this. But let me read what is said here and then what Nerdrotic replies with and why I don't think he understands what he's advocating for in his response. And if he does, I'd love to hear him clear it up for me. So Culture Crave here is talking about Kevin Feige. It says, Kevin Feige reportedly told Marvel colleagues that watching every new MCU project had begun to feel more like homework than entertainment. Employees talk regularly about Marvel fatigue and worry they've created a no new fans club where new viewers have no clue what's going on. And Nerdrotic replies with, no shit. And I was confused by this. I had to think about this for a moment because I'm thinking if you agree with this take, aren't you saying that they should do away with all the stuff like phases 1, 2, and 3, where all this history, everything all the fidelity, all the carry through stuff, all the crossover stuff, all the things that led up to the two biggest movies in the MCU, which was Infinity War and Endgame, the two biggest things from those phases was literally is payoff from massive amounts of homework. Like tons of movies that you had to watch going into those two films. Probably the most homework you have to do for anything when it comes to MCU, if you're going to talk about watching things as being homework, which is I believe the intention here with these statements. So by saying this, he is advocating for more of phases 4 and 5. That's what he's advocating for. But his hatred for women, people of color, gay people, trans people, his hatred for those communities blinds him to what's being said here because they say a no new fans club. These guys are the ultimate gatekeepers. That's their entire foundation is predicated on who's a real geek, who's a real nerd versus all of the normies that are just coming in and watching one or two things. So why would he be advocating for this? Why would he act like this is a good thing? By saying no shit, he implies that he already knew it and he is right. Therefore, this must be the way things should be. That's what that says. When the way he is using it in this context, because context clues are important, is he is agreeing with this and advocating that he already knew it and that this is the correct way it should be. So if that's the case, let's take a look. I'm just very curious if you guys know what kind of things came out that don't necessarily need homework. So I went back to phase 4 here in Google and typed it in. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, is a movie that you need almost no knowledge of the MCU going into. Let's look down here. Werewolf by Night, standalone special event thing. You didn't need much knowledge of anything going into that. Moon Knight, you didn't need much knowledge of anything going into that. What If? I mean, you could know stuff, but you don't have to know stuff going into that. She-Hulk, very little knowledge, anything. Ms. Marvel, all you really need to know about that is Captain Marvel. That's pretty much it. Eternals, literally didn't need to know anything. All the things that would feel like homework are all the things that connect to earlier phases. Those things are the things that they're saying are problematic and they want to move away from that because that's creating fatigue. So do you think that's a good thing? Because by saying no shit, you imply that you know that it's better for them to recognize that homework is a bad thing. So all of that stuff that you guys love from the first 3 phases, that would get wiped out immediately because that is the thing gatekeeping and preventing people from coming into new projects. Let's look at phase 5. I want to take a quick look at phase 5 to see what we got here. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed. It didn't do as well as they wanted. It wasn't a flop, but it underperformed. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did really well. Secret Invasion was garbage. I don't think that had a lot to do with homework. I Am Groot is a kid's show. Loki Season 2 did extremely well. The Marvels flopped. This is the only real movie flop that Marvel has ever had. So I guess you could say that was a problem when it comes to homework. What If doesn't really count, in my opinion. Echo was kind of dumped. You didn't even need any homework for Echo, to be honest. Deadpool and Wolverine, massive, massive homework movie. Like, if you came into this movie and didn't know anything about any of the previous Fox movies or Marvel movies or Deadpool movies or any of those things, you would be absolutely lost with Deadpool and Wolverine. But yet this movie did extremely well. Agatha All Along, didn't really need to do much homework, just one show, really. Captain America Brave New World, massive amount of homework. Captain America movie, underperformed. Daredevil Born Again, massive amount of homework. It's a continuation of a show that had you could argue 3.5 seasons if you count the Defenders. And then we have Thunderbolts. We haven't seen what Ironheart's going to be yet. So we have all of these things. I mean, do we argue homework on some of the ones that perform well, like Guardians of the Galaxy and, what else? What else we have? Guardians of the Galaxy, Loki Season 2, Deadpool and Wolverine. Do we argue that that's a problem? Because I don't necessarily think that it is. I don't think it is. What I think they want to do is prevent the gatekeepy stuff. So more of the stuff that we got like in phases 4 and 5 and less reliance on things from phases 1, 2, and 3, which means less of the stuff that these guys want. So this is hilarious to me that Nerdrotic, when he says no shit here, he is literally talking like he has the magic answer to all of this. And that magic answer is this is a good thing because they should have been listening to him all along. They're not talking about bringing back characters from earlier phases that require a massive amount of homework. That's literally the opposite of what they're saying here. And yet, here you are acting like you have unlocked the code. It's funny to me because I actually agree with you. It is a good thing to be less gatekeepy. We need more standalone shows, more standalone specials that have less actual crossover with the larger MCU. Small things are fine. Easter eggs are fine. Or even if you want to do like a one-off story with these characters, that's fine as well. But I think we need less of that so people can get more involved in it. She-Hulk, for example, had a lot less connection to anything. And a lot of people I know in my environment that never watched Marvel before watched She-Hulk, loved She-Hulk, and have not really watched much of Marvel since then, except maybe Agatha All Along. So there are niche groups that are tuning into certain things, and that is because we're getting less homework-heavy stuff. So the statement here, totally misunderstood by Nerdrotic, totally misunderstood by these guys, but that doesn't surprise me because they are not the soothsayers. They don't have magic abilities. They can't see the future. They're not mutants or anything like that. They literally are just dude bros on the internet with microphones that are mad at diversity. And they can't even tell when they're talking shit about the stuff they actually don't stand for.